And boom, according to that, I'm live. Welcome, my name is Simon. Welcome to the stream. This is Tokyo Tonight. It's Japan Standard Time, 10:30 p.m. As it is every week when I normally do this on a Sunday. Of course, last week we did it on a Saturday because I was flying to Singapore. I got back yesterday. So yeah, hoping everyone is good. For me, I am not feeling good right now. I think I must have eaten something or had something. Hopefully I haven't caught anything. But I've kind of been spending a lot of time on the toilet today and I'm not feeling so hot. So I am going to go lie down after this. I sort of thought it'd still be nice. I'm feeling good enough. Obviously, I can talk. I can, say hello to everyone. So I'm definitely going to keep it short. In terms of the after party, you'll see I haven't set up the stream. What I'm thinking for that is I actually made a really cool mix. It's drum and bass and it doesn't have a lot of like pop and stuff mixed in. I must admit, actually, I've got I made some mashup tracks, which are pretty cool. In fact, I really want to do a mix of the mashup tracks if I can just figure out how to load them. In fact, I wonder if I can do that right now. I might just do that live on the show and show you the mashup tracks that I made because they were so cool. But other than that, you can see those if you follow on my Instagram or whatever. I generally post sort of individual tracks that I think are cool. Will it let me go into this? Let me just quickly check. Will it let me do that? Browse. In fact, I should have done this before the show, but boom. Okay, I can totally do that. Let's select all, analyze songs, and set that going. So I'll show you some mashup tracks that I did, so that should be fun. I will go through. I didn't actually tweet a lot this week because I was in Singapore, I was traveling, and I was working. So I didn't put in a lot of tweets, although, I've got some topics, so I think I can zip through that pretty well. Let's see who's in the comments first. That's the part I most enjoy. That's the reason I'm logging in, is because I like to see all of you folks. So I've got Dan H, who I believe is still traveling in Japan and slightly tipsy by the looks of it, looking at the comments. So welcome, Dan, as always. Almost forgot it's Sunday. Lara from Not So Sunny Genova in Italy. So back in Italy, good to see you, Lara. We've got third, DJay Sunny Side Up, good to see you as always. Tipsy after bar hopping, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that you're having a good time there. Dan H. Who else we got in here? We got lots of DJay Sunny Side Up. Remember, say my name if you want to flag to me. I don't get the name flash up so much anymore, but that would still be cool. Boom. Oh yeah. The reason, Lara, the reason that you saw me setting up the stream in 24 hours was initially when I set it up. I set it up for, it defaulted to saying tomorrow, and I had to go back and edit the settings to correct it. So yeah, no, you saw it correctly. That was my bad. I updated it. So there you go. Have to update the app. Countdown, indeed. Thank you, Erin, our wonderful moderator. Good to have you here as always. And indeed, you actually know how this works better than I do. We've got from Finland, we've got Yoni Moi. Good to see you. Bada boom in T-minus 10 seconds, give or take. Quint Rankin, glad that you can make it, and thank you for smashing the like button. I do appreciate it. Indeed, nice to see everybody coming in. And do what Quint Rankin did, smash the like button. That's what I'm doing it for. That's what I'm logging in for. I'm not monetizing the videos, just doing it for squirrels and likes and all that good stuff. Smash it like it owes you money. Oh, that's a clever and humorous phrase. Thank you for that, Aaron. We've got Mr. Cordy Chep. Good to see you always. We've got, who else we got here? Yeah, did the play button. All of that. Traveling can indeed be rush. I don't know. I'm hoping this is just like a food poisoning thing and I'll wake up and it's been gone. I haven't thrown up, but I felt a bit off. So, yeah, I'm not going to do too much of that. What's the last manga that I've read? Doraemon? I don't know. I'm not really a big manga person, Mr. Yearboy. So I'm not much of an anime or a manga person. I sort of came here just chasing women, pretty much. Yeah, much less respectable than cultural pursuits like manga or anime or anything like that. So what can I say? Michael Gillen Peckett, 25 years ago. By the way, this month, the 23rd this month, is my Japan anniversary. not that I really care that much, but it is the 25th, so I suppose that counts for something. So yeah, there's a big one coming up, just a couple of weeks to that now. So yeah, that's the thing. Slightly afraid if I burp that something might come up, but yeah, I'm sort of on the fringe of that at the moment. I'm feeling fine. It's just my stomach is feeling like crap. So I will have an early night of sleep. Cobra Stenshi, missed the beginning. Don't have your coffee and cookies ready yet. Well, I won't be going for that long, but I'll always tell you, definitely go get some coffee and cookies, just because it's a good way to start your day in Germany. You should go do that. The squirrels are indeed always chasing. Please step in for you too. You're inebriated, too inebriated to provide relevant squirrel chases today. I think we're all sort of on the same foot for that, so that's cool. Ida from Denmark. All right. Yes, good to see you as always. Isn't Lara in Japan now? Well, Lara's just saying that she's posting from Genoa, so I assume she's back in Italy. But yeah. And who else we got in there? Boom. Yes, came back to work. So back in Italy to wait for a working visa. So it's going to arrive when it's going to arrive. Glad to hear. Mr. Yearboy, we've got, I think we're all caught up now, but I hope it doesn't take too long, says Yoni. Indeed. Happy Hinamatsuri. Oh yeah, I saw stuff about that today. You made a Hinamatsuri rap. Is that up on your channel? If it is, I will direct anyway, everyone should go check out DJ Sunny Side Up, but go do that. If I post on the after party, I guess it's kind of good having some spare mixes. I will post not as a live stream, but as a general. I'll do a bit of mixing on the stream since I'm not really up to like talking for too much. And I will post later a 1 hour long drum and bass mix that I made, which isn't as fun as a live stream. I really do enjoy the live stream. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking maybe I can do it right now. I'm feeling okay talking to you. But I know I really should go and get some sleep and just recover from this dang thing. We got Shubus in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Smash the like button as soon as you got there. Buenos dias, good to have you. Never fear, Shubus is here. How could I have missed that? Anyway, I'm glad that I caught you, Shubus. And good to see. And yeah, definitely go check out his Hinamatsuri rap from DJ Sunny Side Up. So yeah, what's been going on in the world? I've pretty much just been racing through my news feeds today to see what's happening. So yeah, Elon's suing OpenAI, saying that they're not helping humanity. It's a bit like suing Google for promising not to be evil. I'm not sure it's going to work, but you know, there again, Elon's got money to spend on lawyers. I'm not sure I'd want to represent him, honestly, but you know, it's good for the legal community. Apparently, there is a what is this? It's an art or it's a museum exhibition on the history of Yoshiwara, Japan, Tokyo's Edo's traditional red light district. In the eastern suburbs of Tokyo. Kind of controversial because it shows kind of a positive spin on the colorful history of prostitution, kind of skimming over, you know, the other aspects of sort of human trafficking and what do you call it, indentured servitude, and you know, stuff that also has been a part of that industry for centuries as well. But there again, it is still a whole district in Tokyo. Famous nowadays for crime, and it is kind of part of the ghetto. It's near the Skytree, and soaplands, which are a particular type of adult entertainment aimed at guys, where it involves a lot of soap. That's the best I can figure out. But still, I mean, for sort of alternative or stuff, I mean, there's so much sort of history of Japan. You think of the what do they call them? The kaiga, the old sexual woodblock prints and all that sort of stuff, which sort of when Japan decided to import Victorian Christian morality in the 19th century randomly and become a patriarchal society, and all of this sort of history of Japan got sort of subsumed, you could say, got sort of it was sort of hidden away, but it's there and it's always been part of Japan and it's in the culture today. So I think it'd be kind of cool to go see. I'm not planning to go see it myself, but if you're in Tokyo and you want to go see something different, there is a thing between March 26th and May 19th. There is an art beat exhibition on the history of Yoshiwara, which would be kind of cool. Aaron, thanks for flagging that. You know, I haven't gotten to that yet. I've been so behind on videos while I've been traveling. But yeah, that will be the floating world, indeed, Quint Rackard. So, you know, the old kabuki anyway. Lots of, apparently during the week, I didn't see much of this. I just got back and saw there's been sort of a swarm of earthquakes off Chiba. This could be a good thing-ish in the sense that earthquake scientists are saying this is a slow slip. It is a slow earthquake. where things are basically where the plates, rather than building up tension and exploding, they are slowly slipping, resulting in lots of smaller tremors rather than having one great big one. That sounds like a good thing. It sounds always better to have lots of small quakes than a big one. There again, there is the general concern that, of course, during the Great East Japan earthquake, there was a massive amount of slippage of the plates north of Tokyo, which released all the built-up sort of pressure that had built up in those parts in the north of Honshu. And after those earthquakes, where there used to be tons of earthquakes up by Tohoku, and then they had this massive quake, and then they've had no quakes pretty much, since that settled down. All the quake swarms have been happening at the bottom end of that fault line where they didn't have the massive release of energy, which makes you worry, so, is Ibaraki Chiba next? Scientists are saying this is probably a slow slip, so it's probably a good thing, but at the same time, it's a good reminder to make sure that you have your emergency kits and plans and everything in place. It means we are probably in for more than usual tremors, at least, and at worst, it could actually be a real risk, so what can we say? Dan H. in Gion, the geisha district. Hotel seems like it would be more difficult to accept the traditional activities. Geisha are a complicated thing as well. I don't think the idea that geisha were prostitutes is as I understand, they were prostitutes, but geisha was sort of like an entertaining thing, although, of course, that's how it goes. Quinn Rankid, that's how the big one started, with a swarm of small ones. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So be aware if you're in the Kanto region, Chiba, Ibaraki in particular, but Tokyo as well, that we're getting a swarm of quakes at the moment, and it's probably fine. But and we do have these swarms of quakes here every 10 years or so, but apparently we do periodically get big earthquakes that follow these things. So what can we do? Aaron's been thinking that Nagoya Shizuoka is next for a very long time now. Well, everyone's been waiting for the very big, the Nankai Trough, the southern trough earthquake, which we've been waiting for, which would affect Shikoku, Kansai, basically, and that would trigger huge, tsunamis and so on. Pardon me, which would go straight for Kyoto, Kobe, Osaka, and would be extremely bad, and there's a certainty that will happen. That's the one everyone's been worried about. But Quentin Market, good reminder to read the Tokyo Bosai, the disaster information. Indeed, Eric Bailey, I'm glad that you arrived. We will now proceed with the show. Thank you for the green light. Do appreciate that always. So that's a thing. Japan, looking at breakdown of music sales, and in recent years, Western music kind of disappearing from the proportion of sales. It's kind of interesting how K-pop has sort of become more of a factor over time, and Western music has disappeared. One thing, when you look at the Japanese music countdown, you can sort of instantly tell when the K-pop track is on, because the music just sounds better. It sounds better produced and everything. So, K-pop has truly come up, where it used to be sort of poor quality rip-offs of Japanese pop music, and now it's really caught up. This is interesting. When it comes to giving women equal rights with men, things have gone far enough in my country. So this is an interesting one. So whether things have gone far enough, and at the bottom of this list, very few people in Japan. Only Portugal has less people that agree that things have gone far enough in terms of giving women equal rights. It's an oddly phrased question, I suppose, but it does continue to show that Japan is sort of definitely still lagging behind in that regard. Yes, thank you, Eric Bailey, for coming up. We do appreciate it. Welcome indeed. Bienvenidos to the show. What else have we got here? Kind of a lot of generalisms, but Malboyne, as always, sort of covering that there's sort of in terms of perceptions, there are perceptions that Mongols and Nepalese are better at integrating into Japanese society and learning Japanese language and customs. Indonesians sort of behave and keep to themselves, but Vietnamese, the largest and most rapidly increasing group of immigrants, not seen as being so well behaved. Again, these are terrible generalizations, but they feed into perceptions in Japanese society. So you believe in yourself. Great to see you. You see, in fact, on this list, was Saudi Arabia on there? Wow, so Saudi Arabia, everybody agrees that they've done enough. So there you go. And Saudi Arabia is below Japan on the equality index. So you could say at least Japan can be credited with self-awareness. But that's an excellent point there. either. So thank you for pointing that out. Um, so yeah, continuing on. Threads about 10 years too late. I know it's only been around for about a year, but I was hoping that they would have like Feedly integration and API integration that will let you use it from other sites to post onto Twitter and stuff, or to let you post news like I do. I would have had this whole show based on Threads if it allowed Flipboard and Feedly integration when it was released, but Facebook wasn't interested. And now here we are a year later, and I've stopped using it, so way too late. But that is a shame. This is super cool. This is a video from I think it's a capsule from Varda Space that was launched by New Zealand's Rocket Lab Space Company. And this is it re-entering the atmosphere. They put a video on to just show what it looks like, no filter, nothing, just a video of what it looks like when you are ripping into the atmosphere at Mach 25. Super cool. Anyway, so that's a view that would be cool to see one day, although hopefully in a safe situation. Record number of workers in Japan, 2 million. With Kishida looking like he's going to be on the way out. Latest poll shows the preferred next prime minister. Only 1% of people, which I want Kishida as the next prime minister, and I suspect that's probably just his mum. Kono, Taro Kono, who I kind of like, he's quite down the rankings. Interesting to see Kamikawa, the foreign minister, who wasn't on these rankings at all until recently, is up quite high. Ishiba, far and away the favorite, but he doesn't have a lot of clout in the factions in LDP. He always sort of ends up coming second. I suspect the party might go. Takaichi's a little bit too right wing. Kamikawa sort of has a view of being kind of smart and a moderate. So we'll see if that actually happens. But certainly, I mean, Kishida is toast at the moment. He's pretty much a lame duck. The world's first immersive theme park. I don't know exactly what this is. It's like a movie theater which simulates being in a Sherlock Holmes story where you can go solve a murder mystery. So this is a thing opening up in Odaiba and being promoted as a world first sort of attraction. Kind of curious to check it out, I suppose. Sort of a multimedia sort of thing. 6,800 yen, so something fun to do on the weekends anyway. Looks like fun. More foreign volunteer firefighters. There's a guy in Hachioji on Twitter. What's his name? Well, I forget his name, but he is very good with that. Michael Gillen-Peckett says that you like that Threads Facebook are separate. It enables use of different platforms for different reasons. Yeah, but I like to have API integration so I can just post things from other sites where I'm reading or whatever, or sharing stuff or collecting stuff in a magazine for the show. That's what I like to do. But sure, certainly having a separate social media is a good thing. So in Kawaguchi, which apparently has 7% foreigner population, which is the highest anywhere in Japan, it's in Saitama, they already have trash separation information in English, Chinese, Korean, and Japanese. But now with so many Turkish, particularly Kurdish refugees, as well as Tagalog, Philippines, in fact, no Portuguese, which is interesting, no Brazilians, but they have Turkish and so on. They're adding languages to the order to explain how to separate garbage, because Japanese care a lot about this. And frankly, foreigners, even if you have the rules, don't really care enough. Please follow the garbage separation rules, because honestly, a lot of apartments cite garbage as the reason that they ban future foreigners when they have a bad experience. That said, the rules are difficult to follow and complicated, as you can tell. The translations don't necessarily help a lot. But that is a thing that is happening with the garbage separation. So yes, if you're living in Japan, pay attention. That is the multiple earthquakes thing again. Apparently in Niseko, because people are willing to pay like 5,000, 6,000 yen for ramen in America, in places like Niseko, in winter sort of ski towns with lots of foreigners, they are now happily charging 3,000 yen for ramen, which some Japanese are pointing out makes them feel like they are now officially like a third world, like a developing country, where they can't afford to enjoy things in their own country. So yeah, that is a thing. Yes, indeed, Kerberos Tenshi well pointed out that the Japanese lunar lander, just like the American one, actually did land and tip over on the surface, but kept working. I am a bit nauseous, so yeah, I'm not going to be able to go too much further. But let me push through. Hopefully, not too visually. That could cause a whole thing. Yes, so they both fell over. Apparently, Slim remarkably wasn't designed to survive the lunar night. None of the electronics or anything were insulated for the minus 270 degrees that happened. So it was expected it would break during the night. But it came back to life during the next lunar day, and it's still sending photos. So, yeah, made in Japan, still counting for something. Um, Much more issues with the. In some ways, I think you could say the Japanese lander seems to be more successful than the intuitive landing one. When you hear all the things that went wrong with the American one, including it tipping over as well. But good to see that we're back on the moon. Also, kind of freaky and impressive to hear the plans that China has for being on the moon very soon. But yeah, very cool to see the images of it landing. The J vlog, good to see you. If everyone rocking in late, my apologies. I am feeling bad. I've just gotten back from a flight from Singapore, but I don't know if I ate something or something, but I'm feeling a bit stomach bad. So I am just going to keep this quick tonight, and I'm going to go offline. But yeah, what's my favorite Japanese meal that I cook myself? Honestly, I just like nikuyasa. I like to cook Korean food. So my favorite Japanese food that I like is butter kimchi itame. Just kimchi, pork, onions and stuff, and just have that on rice. That's pretty much simple as good. Or Genghis Khan, lamb. But yeah, Eric Bailey, it's your experience that Japanese ignore trash rules far more than Gaijin. Perhaps. I don't know that they necessarily do. If there's lots of students around, or if you're sort of in a ghetto-y place, perhaps. But the problem is, even if that's true, when foreigners do it, it stands out more. And it's fulfilling a stereotype and an assumption, a negative assumption. So there's that. And certainly I know enough, drunken, traveling party boy foreigners who do not give a crap and do things like tossing garbage bags off balconies and just doing ridiculous stuff like that, which, I haven't seen Japanese do. So, yeah, it's a sensitive area. But yes, salutations to JVlog. Glad that you can make it. Kind of interesting here. The student recognized there was a statue, there was a taxidermied mountain dog, but apparently she correctly identified that it was an extinct Japanese wolf. So kind of cool. They found one of these, and I thought that's a cool sort of. I like those sorts of stories. Um, Toyota. Apparently, the Toyota Prius is more eco-friendly and more carbon efficient than its green score is considered highest by Motorhead magazine anyway than many fully electric vehicles. So for all the all the flack that Toyota's getting for not going fully EV yet, I'm still doing pretty well. Um, and people who still think that Japan is a suicide capital of the world, it's not doing well. Nothing to brag about in any case. But Japan is, down to fewer suicide deaths in Japan than America, for example. So times are changing with that. It was bad in the 90s certainly. But there you go. A Japanese LDP politician caught having an affair with a Canadian celebrity saxophonist. Turns out he was playing more than just the saxophone. I slight Monty Python reference. I couldn't help myself. He's a lumberjack and he's okay. But yeah, and apparently she doesn't care. And fair enough. I think that's half the problem, that people apologize too much. But what can we do? Wow, Finland is they're being regarded as the happiest country on a consistent basis. So there you go. Eric Bailey, you've seen Gaijin catch the blame. Exactly. Which is why, for God's sake, please don't make it true. Maybe it's an unfair assumption, but it's always terrible when people make that true. So there you go. That's pretty much it. There's a new rugby tournament. Japan is introducing joint custody, or a bill which should be a formality since the government's putting it in, which will allow joint custody. So that is a thing. I actually had someone tweet back at me when I did this. I got into a slight debate with someone. A lot of family law advocates, lawyers, and people who lobby on this. Oh, pardon me. Who didn't want Japan to join the Hague Convention on Parental Aspects of Child Abduction, where basically one parent, for the situation where, for example, in America, you have a divorce and the family law courts say, well, the husband gets 3 days a week and the wife gets 4 days a week, whatever, and has joint custody, has visitation on weekends, whatever, and the Japanese sort of thinks, screw this, and flies back to Japan, where in Japan there is no joint custody, and there's no enforcement system to enforce these sorts of orders. And when they said that, and when this led to situations where parents would abduct their own children, it's considered abduction, criminal abduction. There are people, I know of cases where people are facing arrest if they ever go back into America for removing their kids in violation of a custody order. It's treated as abduction. And it became a big diplomatic issue for Japan. But people who are against Japan signing up to the treaty and not essentially endorsing and supporting abduction of children by their parents in custody disputes, we're saying that, well, if it's an abusive case, if it's a case with domestic abuse, you're leaving people vulnerable. It allows a protection as a reason not for Japan not to sign up to the Hague Convention. Like best interest of the child, maximum protection for children. We should let parents abduct their kids back to Japan if they think it's necessary. Problem with that is who assesses that there was domestic violence? It could be the abuser who's abducting them back to Japan and adding to the abuse by hiding them from kids, as well as the fact that, where the general universal, it's generally accepted that, there are conditions like parental alienation syndrome and so on, where kids suffer when they are prevented from access to one of their parents. And, for all the presumptions that the best interest of the child is to have healthy and loving access to both parents, even after divorce, now that Japan has signed up to the Hague Convention, the same advocates are coming out, and someone said to this, introducing joint custody in Japan will give access to kids, it'll give custody to abusers. Again, not an expert on family law, but I have studied these things at law school to some extent. And the principles are always the best interest of the child override. And that includes an assessment as to whether there's a physical safety risk, including domestic violence. So, having a blanket, no joint custody, because whoever doesn't have custody is by default presumed to be an abuser. One, that's victimizing the non-custodial parent, and two, it's victimizing the kids, presuming that, sure, in order to eliminate the risk of access that the other custodial parent might be a domestic abuser, you're punishing both the kids and all of the non-abusing parents. So a lot of people are still saying that, you shouldn't have joint custody because of abuse. No one's for abuse, but the point is it's a kind of abuse to withhold the kids from their parents. So, got into a little bit of a debate about that this morning. But there again, I certainly understand where proving domestic violence is hard, and not, obviously something some people just prefer to avoid. But the system that Japan has at the moment, it doesn't have a working family law system to assess that. So there you go. Anyway, on that cheerful note, is there anything else here? Drinking in this falling collapse in the streets drunk, something people are seeing as an increasing problem. I don't. Compared to 20 years ago, you hardly see it anymore. But obviously, if it's increasing and it's still something to be aware of, always good to have, lessons on that. But compared to the old days, drinking is something that's happening much less. So look, that's the show. I am not going to do a DJ set tonight. What I will do is tomorrow I'll upload a mix as an after party that I made while I was flying. But I am not feeling well. I'm feeling like I could go throw up any second right now, as much as I look cheery and whatever. So I'm going to go have a lie down and hopefully sleep this off and feel better in the morning. I will feel better, don't worry. But still, it's fun to keep all of you. It's good to keep company with all of you. Thank you for joining me, especially on short notice. I didn't set this up early because I wasn't sure if I could do it, but it looks like I can. But that said, I'm gonna sign off. So I'll be back with all the DJing and everything next week. Hopefully I'll have arranging to get this DJ controller. I'm really looking forward to having that set up and making that part of the show more entertaining. I also made a bunch of mashup tracks, which I'm looking forward to mixing and showing off to you all. So that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, look, stay safe, everybody. Have a good week. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter. All those good things. I'll be back at the same time next week. Keep cool till after school. Ka kite ano. That's Maori for keep cool till after school. See you later. And boom, peace. Have a good one. And remember to like, because I do appreciate that. I will. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. And thumbs up for the ganbatte. And yes, any stream. Boom. And actually,